One gentleman wrote in and said, how can shy introverts like myself encourage women to lead interactions? And I think this is true for whatever gender you might be. It's really nice to know how you can encourage other people to approach you if you're a shy introvert.
This is Cathy from the intimacydojo.com.
And Reid from readaboutsex.com.
I'm geeky about this kind of content. I'm an extrovert, but I'm also very awkward, and I have a lot of insecurities. So I think in some ways, the things that stop me from speaking up are very similar. I think for a lot of human beings, fear and shame and embarrassment or saying the wrong thing, those are like human fears. And the idea of figuring out ways when you're shy, I'll let you speak as,
I'm a shy person,
as a card-carrying introvert. But for me, the trick's always how can you make things playful and fun and get the message out there? So whether it's a Post-it note, with the thing you need to say. I mean, it can be very fourth grade, here's the note, and then you run away.
We had someone do that at camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. They actually had someone else pass it for them.
So there's lots of ways that you can overcome the shyness, but what's your opinion or what are your experiences?
So one thing I've done is I announce that I'm socially shy. Whenever some point in the conversation, I mention it, and I've also mentioned it from stage, and that I like to be approached.
Or on the internet.
And that I like to be approached because I tend to be really shy. That works pretty well, but one time I was hanging out with this delightful human being, and I told the story about how I once went out on a date, and I didn't realize it was a date until a couple of years later because I was so shy. I didn't realize that the person liked me. I was kind of telling the story, hoping they would get that I was really shy. Well, this person was also very shy and told me that they'd had a similar experience. We spent the whole evening sort of pseudo-flirting with each other, and neither of us made a move. And it was a couple days later, I'm like, were you flirting with me? And she was like, yes. And I'm like, oh, damn it.
But, okay, so here's the thing. Having done similar things, when you both identified, because this was not years later.
No, it was a couple days
later.
That
you were both flirting, what happened then?
Unfortunately, at that point, we were on the way out, so there wasn't really room for us. But we have connected after that. So
she said with a smile and a glint in her eye.
I do think that sometimes when you're more a shy introvert, I don't expect things to move as fast as if I was an extrovert. I don't connect really fast with people like that.
I think the extrovert thing just means we fail faster. It's not just because you're extroverted, while you could think of I'm making more attempts, so I must have greater success, meaning there's more attempts, so there must be more successes. The impact of having it not go well still stings for me as somebody who's insecure and awkward. I just think we think everybody else is way more confident than us.
Yeah.
And when you can have conversations, I don't know how this impacts for shy introverts, but when you can start the conversation about the meta thing, hey, I was on this date and I didn't know it was a date. I think that's a side door into talking about the elephant in the room without having to talk to the person directly. But because you're both now talking about the elephant, it's you're both, you can talk to each other. I don't know if that made sense. But.
No, it does. I think that for the person who wrote in, who had the question, one, realize that there's a lot of other introverts. You may be assuming everybody else, like Reid said, everybody else has it together and they're feeling very confident. Most people look that way on the outside, but inside they're just as messy as anybody else. So taking the first step yourself, sometimes I do push myself to try to, if I'm interested in someone, I'll say, I'm really awkward and shy about flirting, but you're really fun, and would you like to practice?
But how do you get to that point? Because that's where I think people don't know how to even get the ball rolling, the momentum to get over the hump and actually open their mouth and say something.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I'm really lucky because I hang out with a lot of sex geeks and relationship geeks where people are like, oh, you want to practice? Cool, let's practice flirting and see where it goes. In the regular world,
muggles,
met with love, it's harder. I found that practice helps. it's like with anything, if you don't practice it, it's not going to get easier. And it's scary to reach out and say, hey, I kind of would like to see if there's anything between us, especially if you've had a lot of rejection in the past or you're very shy. Like, it lands very hard. So practicing with safer people, taking baby steps at first, but also telling people, tell your best buddy, hey, you know how shy I am? I like that girl over there. Would you encourage me? Or
would you pass this note along?
Yes. I think that when people are trying to pretend they're not shy or they're not introverted, that comes across kind of creepy, because whenever we're trying to lie or pretend, there's something off about our energy and people are like, oh, what's going on? But if we just say, hey, I'm super awkward at this, and you seem like someone I'd like to know better, are you interested in chatting for a few minutes? Just that vulnerability and the honesty is very attractive to a lot of people. Yeah. And you probably want to hang out with kind of people that aren't going to be mean to you about, like, even if they're like, hey, I'm meeting someone, but thanks anyway.
And if you're honest and vulnerable and they are mean to you, that's how you know not to flirt with them.
Yeah, you don't want to spend time with them anyway.
Yeah. Meanies. Haters are going to hate. Leave them alone.
Yeah. But
Come
if you
hang
can,
out with us.
Yeah. But practicing, asking a good friend if you can practice the words so they come out a little better, might make it just a little bit easier to go ahead. And you can just invite people. You can say, hey, I'm bad at approaching people. If you're interested, would you come and invite me to stuff? Like, literally being that direct. Yeah.
When appropriate, walk up to people and gently go, tag, you're it, and then run! What do you think? Leave some comments.
Yeah, we'd love to know what you think. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to subscribe to my social media, it's right there. And please subscribe to this channel there. If you'd like to see more goofy Reid and Cathy, there's more videos there.
See them. Why are they there?